There have been times I have just desecrated the walk, if you will. I've messed up. And
Michael Tait, why you gotta be so creepy, dude? You out here giving rest us Christian artists just a bad name. We out here trying to build a kingdom, and you out here just, I don't know, diddying around or whatnot, man. Get your head straight.
Popular Christian music singer Michael Tait of DC Talk and Newsboys fame just had some very serious sexual misconduct and SA allegations levied towards him. Allegations going back to at least 2004, spanning over the course consistently over 20 years. All of the allegations do involve young boys, all of which have said that he either gave them alcohol or on the Newsboys tour bus and allegedly forced himself upon them. I'm not somebody who identifies with the Christian faith as much as I used to back in the day, but as somebody who grew up listening to the Newsboys and even got to see them in concert at Disney one time, this is shocking, definitely, but it's not exactly surprising. It turns out that there's been rumors about this for years, and while the Newsboys have said that they have no knowledge of these allegations, it seems that this is not something that's just come out of nowhere.
Hey, friends. I want to begin today with a story that's not easy to tell. Not for me. Not for anyone in the church. But especially not for the people who have lived through it. You see, for many of us growing up in the 90s or early 2000, Michael Tait wasn't just a Christian artist. He was a Christian artist. He was the soundtrack to our youth group lock-ins, our church camp worship nights, and those car rides with Mom after Sunday morning service. Whether it was with DC Talk or leading the Newsboys, his voice became a kind of spiritual anchor for a generation. I know it was for me. But now that voice has gone silent. And the silence, it's not peaceful. It's heavy. It's terrifying. And it's filled with pain. Today, I want to walk with you carefully, honestly, through what has become one of the biggest reckonings in Christian music history. And I want us to do it not just as content consumers, not as gossip chasers, but as believers who are called to walk in the light, even when the truth is hard. So grab a cup of coffee and take a breath. If you're just joining us, let me catch you up real quick. Here's a short but powerful clip that will give you a glimpse into the storm that's been shaking the foundations of the Newsboys band, a story that's been unfolding behind closed doors, now coming into the light.
Michael Tait, former lead singer of the popular Christian rock band Newsboys, is facing serious allegations of sexual assault, grooming, and drug abuse. In a 2025 report by the Roy's Report, 3 men came forward with strikingly similar stories. Between 2004 and 2014, while these men were in their early 20s, they say Michael Tait gave them drugs or alcohol, then crossed serious boundaries and engaged in non-consensual sexual behavior. It's important to note that these men are not known to have known nor communicated with each other. They came forward from different tours and different years. Tait did step down as a lead singer back in January, reportedly saying that he was living a doubled life. As of now, no criminal charges or lawsuits have been filed, and Tait has not made a public response to the allegations. As for the Newsboys, they have come out with a statement saying that they are heartbroken by the allegations and they do not condone sexual misconduct. In response to the allegations, popular Christian radio station K-Love has stopped playing their music for the foreseeable future. It's important to add that these allegations are not proven and Tait is still legally innocent until proven guilty.
Michael Tait was the cool one, the one who could rap and sing. He had that edge, that energy. You'd listen to Jesus Freak and feel like being a Christian was powerful, rebellious even. And when he joined the Newsboys, man, they took off like wildfire. From youth conferences to stadium tours, they brought worship to the mainstream. Songs like God's Not Dead weren't just anthems. They were declarations of faith in a world that felt increasingly cynical. Michael had charisma, stage presence, and joy. He wasn't just performing, he was ministering. At least, that's what it looked like. But what happens when the voice we thought brought us closer to God becomes the very thing that leads others into darkness? Christians are reacting to the news, a couple which we have brought your way. It is disheartening to see how concerned fans all over are being moved by this. Just take a look at this girl's video.
You know that feeling you get when you meet someone and something about them is just off? You can't really explain it, but your spirit kind of tenses up around them and you're just like, what is it that I'm feeling right now? Well, a couple years ago, I met Michael Tait from the Newsboys. Like, I was fangirling so hard, wanting to take this here picture. And I remember being so excited, but Michael was not excited at all. He looked highly bothered, okay? He rarely made eye contact. He didn't smile other than in the picture right here. He was sitting on the couch the entire time, on his phone, texting and making phone calls. He didn't even bother to make conversation. Not that he had to, right? But he could have said hi or bye, have a nice day, nice taking a picture with you. Because I was doing all the talking. I was the one that was very excited. And I understand celebrities being in public places sometimes it's like, hey, whoa, I get a lot of fans coming up to me all the time. Okay, I'm a little exhausted here. No time for pictures. But there were no paparazzi. We were the only ones in the lobby. And I figured, why not? And I was so embarrassed. I was so afraid to ask. And my boss went ahead and did me the favor, took a picture. Now, it doesn't take a lot in a normal, regular day to go out of your way and say hi to somebody or start a small conversation, which Duncan here did. He had no problem doing so. And Michael was so dismissive. And I just figured, okay, maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he's in a terrible mood. Maybe the private jet he was about to get on didn't have something he liked. And in light of the allegations going on with Michael Tait right now, I was just thinking about how my discernment in that moment makes a lot of sense now. I'm not claiming I know anything, but I did feel something. And I think a lot of times a lot of us do feel certain things about some people and we just choose to ignore it.
In January 2025, the Newsboys were all set for a big Canadian tour. Everything was in place. Fans were excited. Churches were promoting the shows. And then without warning, Michael posts on social media. Just a couple of vague sentences. Something about stepping away for personal reasons. No interviews. No press release. Just silence. And then Faith Live, the Christian event organizer, canceled the entire tour. Not postponed. Not rescheduled. Canceled. That's when rumors started flying. And soon after, the Roy's report dropped a bombshell, a 2.5-year investigation. Over 50 individuals were interviewed. Accusations dating back over 2 decades. A pattern of alleged abuse that was consistent, disturbing, and heart-wrenching. They weren't talking about a minor failure. They were talking about sexual assault, grooming, emotional and spiritual manipulation, substance misuse. From a man who had been seen as a spiritual leader to millions. Let's talk about just a few of the stories. Stephen's story. Stephen was 22 years old when he met Michael. He was touring with the Chris Sly Band. He was young, talented, full of faith and hope. Michael took an interest in him right away. Encouraged him. Took him out to nice dinners. Treated him like a mentee, maybe even like a little brother. However, one night in January 2011, they had drinks. Stephen says he blacked out. When he woke up, he alleged that Michael was fondling and kissing him. He told his bandmates, told his girlfriend, and they laughed. Treated it like a weird inside joke, like something too awkward or uncomfortable to take seriously. Can you imagine the shame, the confusion? Your hero violates you and then the people you trust most treat it like a punchline? Years later, Stephen's bandmates publicly apologized. They admitted they were wrong. They affirmed his story. But the damage was already done. Philip's story. Philip was another young worship musician and deeply involved in ministry. Michael took a liking to him too. Invited him to his home in Nashville one winter. They hung out, talked, prayed. Then one night, in a hot tub, Michael started giving him a back rub. Things got uncomfortable fast. Eventually, Michael exposed himself, invited Philip into bed. And Philip, confused, afraid, unsure of what would happen if he said no, went. He describes being touched inappropriately. He left. Never heard from Michael again. He told his girlfriend, now his wife. But he stayed silent for 2 decades. Afraid of destroying Michael's career. Afraid of being labeled, shunned, blamed. That's what abuse does. It doesn't just harm your body. It steals your voice. Taylor's story. Taylor worked on the Newsboys tour crew. Said it was one of the most exciting seasons of his life. But the band had a strict no women overnight rule. Meanwhile, Alcohol flowed freely. Michael was known to get touchy after a few drinks. Taylor wrote it off as friendly until it wasn't. One night, after heavy drinking, Taylor says he woke up to Michael rubbing his genitals through his jeans. He pretended to be asleep, terrified. Michael had offered him coke earlier that night. Taylor said no. The next day, he left the tour, told his fiancée, and then tried to forget. But you don't forget something like that. Not really. So here's the question a lot of people ask. Why didn't they speak up sooner? And the answer is both simple and devastating. Fear. Fear of not being believed. Fear of destroying their careers. Fear of destroying someone else's faith. In the Christian world, fame and faith are often tightly woven together. When someone as prominent as Michael Tait is accused, it doesn't feel like an attack on a man. It feels like an attack on the church. And so people stay quiet. Until one day, someone doesn't. In early 2025, a controversial video surfaced. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't gentle. But it exposed enough to shatter the silence. Michael stepped down the next day. And the dam broke. So what's happened since then? Not much. The Newsboys haven't addressed the allegations directly. Their lawyer released a statement calling the report unsubstantiated aspersions. Michael hasn't said a word. Faith Live has stayed vague. There is no clear explanation. Just PR language. And across churches, Christian radio, and social media, reactions have been mixed. Some say, let's pray for him. Others say, where's the accountability? But here's the hard truth. This isn't just about one man. It's about an entire system that allowed someone with fame and power to allegedly harm others unchecked for years. This is a moment of reckoning for Christian culture. How many more Michael Taits are out there? How many have been protected by silence, by image, by profit? And what does it say about us that we didn't want to know? The gospel calls us into the light. It calls us to defend the weak, to confront sin, to pursue justice. It does not call us to protect platforms or preserve reputations. Jesus flipped tables in the temple. He called out religious leaders. He didn't say, let's wait until the scandal dies down. He said, whatever you did to the least of these, you did to me. To Stephen, to Philip, to Taylor, to anyone else watching who's endured abuse at the hands of someone in ministry, we believe you. We honor your courage. We pray for your healing. Your story matters. You are not weak for speaking up. You are strong. You are brave. And you are helping others find their voice too. To anyone listening right now who's been harmed in a ministry setting, hear me. You are not alone. God is not the abuser. He is your defender. And you don't have to carry this in silence any longer. This isn't the end of Christian music. This isn't the end of the church. But it might just be the end of our silence. And that would be a beautiful beginning. Stay in the light, my friends. And remember, our hope was never in a man on a stage. It was always in the man on the cross. See you at the next one, and thanks for watching.